sports.
We are the Sports. We are the Sports.
It has been a gorgeous day in the greater Tampa Bay region today as we greet you from the indoor comfort of Tropicana Field on a night when David Price will be presented his 2012 American League Cy Young Award, and the first 20,000 fans receive the David Price Cy Young figurine. Meanwhile, the Rays and the Cleveland Indians will square off in the middle game of this series. Hi again, everyone, with Brian Anderson. I'm Dwayne Stats. Great to have you looking in. We'll be joined by Todd Callis, Orestes Destrada, and Kelly Nash throughout the evening. Well, on the mound, Alex Cobb. He may be just 25 years old, but he finished the season last year like a seasoned veteran.
Yeah, Alex Cobb looking to get off to a start here in 2013, much like the end of the season last year where he really got on a roll the last couple of months. And when you look back at the numbers from August 1st, 11 starts, a 7-1 record that opponents average at 224. The 7 wins, by the way, tied for the American League lead during that stretch. The nice thing is that Alex Cobb went into spring training and was pretty much locked in all the way through spring, has kept a good rhythm, and that's what's always important for Alex Cobb, is to get into a rhythm as quickly as possible, because once he does, he has that good 3 mix of pitches, fastball, change, and curveball that he can really let go to work.
And a really interesting pitching matchup tonight, because Alex Cobb on the hill for the Rays, we know about him. And we're going to get a look at Trevor Bauer, just 22 years old. He came to the Indians from the Arizona Diamondbacks, and his approach is a little unorthodox, and we'll get into that throughout the evening as these two young right-handers square off. Well, the Rays have gone 2-2 in the first 4 games, and Cirilla Vin Zobrist has been red hot at the plate. Todd Callis looks into that when we return.
Zobers are getting ready for baseball. A lot of fans may miss the first pitch because there's a big line outside the rotunda getting ready to come in tonight. Could be a big crowd just looking around the upper deck and in the corners here at the lower level. For the Rays, trying to make it 2 in a row. They've scored 19 runs so far this season. 7 of those runs have been driven in by their number 3 hitter, Ben Zobers. Zobers has been on a nice tear, hitting almost 500 in his first 4 games with those 7 RBIs, including a couple of doubles, a home run. He had those 2 doubles last night despite suffering from the flu. Wasn't feeling 100%. As you can see, Zoe has led the major leagues in doubles as a switch hitter the last 2 seasons. Pete Rose, the only other player that can make that claim. We talked to Ben and also Joe Madden about how last year was a bit of a slow start. Maybe this year, the World Baseball Classic helped Ben get off to this hot start.
I hope that the at-bats that I was able to get during the WBC helped me be more prepared for opening day and beyond, at the start of the season here. So, felt pretty comfortable in the box yesterday. Still want to get a little bit more rhythm and just kind of see the ball a little bit better. And that's just, normal for getting back in the trop and normal things that I think everybody goes through to try and get into their rhythm.
He went to the WBC, and I think that was an important part of his start right now because he really takes that kind of thing seriously. So he came to camp ready to play. He went to play with the WBC team, and you could just see from the beginning he was a little bit sharper than normal early on in camp. I was just curious, like all the WBC guys, if they're all getting off to good starts offensively or not, because he really has a good look about him, and I think a lot of it has to do with his preparation coming into spring training.
Zober is back in there in the number 3 spot in the lineup tonight. Ben will be playing second base. And we'll check out those starting lineups when we come back and also bring you the first pitch as the Rays and the Indians are 2 minutes and 40 seconds away from pitch number 1 right here on Sunsport.
Moore dazzled the crowd of the Trop, tossing 6 scoreless innings as the Rays pitching staff shut out the Indians. Tonight, Joe Madden gives the ball to right-hander Alex Cobb for his 2013 debut. From Tropicana Field, the Rays and the Indians. You can see the crowd still gathering here for the middle game of this series. The Rays and the Indians, a day game tomorrow. And then the Rays hit the road. Orestes Destrada will be with us, and he's down in the camera well. Orestes, you have an interesting perspective down there, what are you going to be searching for?
Well, hey, Dwayne and BA, no doubt about it. I've got a great perspective here, and I'm real close to the hitters. Obviously going to be talking with you guys as far as what's going on, not just with our hitters, but also opposing hitters. So I'll enjoy having a good dialogue with our pitching guru, BA, and talk about what's going on throughout the game. So great spot. I just got to pay attention, make sure I don't get smoked, but I'm loving this.
All right, be careful down there. Let's take a quick look at the Cleveland lineup. They'll have Michael Bourne leading off again in center, followed by Asdrubal Cabrera and Jason Kipnis. Nick Swisher at first cleanup. Michael Brantley, Carlos Santana's the DH. Lonnie Chisenhall in there. Ryan Rayburn and Lou Martin will do the catching and hit ninth. Alex Cobb all set. The first pitch of this game is a strike call. First pitch presented by Pinch A Penny. So we're underway. Bourne had a couple of hits last night, and that was the totality of the Cleveland offense. Those 2 hits and a couple of bases on balls drawn. One to count to Bourne. There's a strike. The BA Alex Cobb, as we mentioned at the outset, had a strong finish last year. And he did establish that he's a guy who can give the Rays some innings, and they're looking for that this year from him. Loney to Cobb, 1 away.
Well, let's take a look at our scouting report tonight, brought to you by your Southern Ford dealers. Keep it going. You talked about the finish last year. His last 11 starts, he went 7-1 with an ERA just over 3. Had a tremendous spring training. Very anxious to get out there now that the games count and control emotions. You know, this is no longer opening day, but it is opening day for Alex Cobb. And the sooner that he can get the emotions under control and get into a good rhythm, the better it's going to be for the Rays.
The shortstop, Asdrubal Cabrera. First pitch strike.
I think one of the things that makes Alex so successful is that he has a very good mix of his pitches. I mean, he'll start you off with the split change, the curveball that we just saw here, and the sinker. And he just doesn't allow the hitter to be very comfortable at the plate. We've already seen a couple of fastballs in on these first couple left-handed hitters here. And, of course, he loves that sinker down and away because he loves the ground ball.
That is a strike. Cabrera offered.
And look what he's seeing right here. The first at bat, Alex Cobb, second hitter of the game, and he drops curveball, fastball, up and in, split change right out over the plate. See a little bit of everything. And it's the quality of those pitches that has allowed him to finish last year on a great run and have a great spring training.
Well, we used to talk about the changeup of James Shields and how often he threw that pitch, one right after another. And as a percentage of total pitches thrown, Cobb uses that pitch more than Shields did.
Yeah, if he would have had enough innings to qualify last year, he would have led major leagues in changeup percentage by a wide margin over James Shields.
Strike 3 call. Got him looking on the fastball.
For me, that's the difference maker right there, that pitch by Alex Cobb, because he has such a high ground ball percentage that hitters are up there looking for that sinker away for fear of driving it into the ground, and he's able to front door that pitch, start it in off the plate, and the hitter just freezes.
23 starts last year, 11-9. 136 in the third innings for the Rays, and when you combine that with his minor league totals, he had just under 178 innings last year. The first pitch strike.
I know we're only 3 hitters in, but everything very sharp out of the gate.
Two.
Let's take a quick look at the Rays defense as it's going to line up behind Alex tonight. In the outfield left to right, Kelly Johnson, Desmond Jennings, and Matt Joyce. Across the infield, third to first, Evan Longoria, Yunel Escobar, Ben Zobrist, and James Loney. Jose Molina back behind the plate.
That takes curve Cleveland. 1-2-3. Strikeout of Kipnis. The Rays are coming in to hit. No score. Bats in the bottom half of the first. Joe Madden will present his 5th different lineup, and this is the 5th game of the year. Desmond Jennings, Matt Joyce, and Ben Zobrist, 1-2-3. Evan Longoria, then James Loney behind Evan. Mel Escobar hits 6th in front of Shelley Duncan, the DH. Jose Molina will catch, and Kelly Johnson is in left field, batting 9th.
Now taking the mound tonight for the Cleveland Indians is going to be right-hander Trevor Bauer, Cleveland Indians' #1 pitching prospect. Of course, he was a first-round draft pick of the Arizona Diamondbacks back in 2011, 3rd overall. Indians were able to acquire him in the 3-team trade that sent Shin-Soo Choo down to the Cincinnati Reds and brought Bauer from Arizona.
Well, the first pitch to Desmond Jennings is in there for a strike. So the Rays get their first look at this young right-hander. Upstairs, it's 1-1. Orestes, hitters for the first time seeing a pitcher that they have not seen before and haven't heard a lot about him. How do you approach that?
Yeah, that is a key factor here, because as BA will know so well, always an advantage to the pitcher when the hitter doesn't know, because you don't know all the different facets of his pitching. Your pitching coach, your hitting coach could tell you, so he's blue in the face, hey, fastball, changeup, curveball, but it's game speed that you need. Video helps, but seeing the guy at least one time around is what's going to be the key guy. And also one more thing, doing stuff like that, making him go deep and making sure you get a lot of pitches to help the rest of your guys.
Well, Jennings draws the walk, and that's been a point of emphasis for the Rays with Desmond all spring and into the first few games of this year.
Having more productive at-bats, working counts, going back to what Orestes was saying, and that's why it's a key. If you're a pitcher in that spot and these hitters, these hitters haven't seen you and they don't know a whole lot about you, that's why it's extremely important for you to be able to come out and get strike one. Because if you get deep into counts, not only have they seen more pitches, but you've put yourself in compromising counts.
Matt Joyce. That's a strike, says Dale Scott. One of the issues the Indians have seen from Bauer coming out of the spring is keeping the ball down. He does apparently tend to keep the ball up, and he missed on 2 or 3 of those pitches out of the zone to Jennings.
Well, as you can see just through the first few pitches, Trevor Bauer, there's a lot going on with him mechanically. Arms, legs can be very deceptive, but also can get out of kilter in a hurry.
He's an interesting case. He is out of the same high school in Valencia, California that produced James Shields, by the way. 1-2. And some would say that this unorthodox approach that he has of preparing for his outings is certainly different. Some would say he's a little ahead of his time, and he was maybe like that in high school. He graduated a year early on his way to UCLA. 2 balls, 2 strikes now. The count here on Matt Joyce, but it's quite an interesting preparation process to watch. We sat here and watched him about 30 minutes before most pitchers would even pick up a ball and start to warm up. So not only was he out there 30 minutes before anybody else, but the way he did it, he didn't go to the bullpen and just start loosening. He went to the outfield and started long toss. I mean, severe long toss.
Yes, he gives long toss a bad name. I mean, he was, and getting into it too, crow hop and let that ball fly from a long way away. Let's take a quick look at the Indians defense that's going to line up behind Bauer tonight's ball game. In the outfield, left to right, Michael Brantley, Michael Bourne, and Ryan Rayburn. Across the infield, third to first, Lonnie Chisenhall, Asdrubal Cabrera, Jason Kipnis, and Nick Swisher. Lou Larson behind the plate.
Innings breaking on the prior 3-2. Desmond's off again. Can bat the fly ball down the right field line. That's going to be out of play, just foul down the right field line. Well, Bauer was in 4 games last year with the Diamondbacks and split the better part of the year between the AA and AAA levels, and combined he was 12-2 in the minor leagues last year and 1-2 with Arizona, and then involved in the trade that sent him to Cleveland. Well, Desmond Jennings walked, and now Matt Joyce with a full count. This will be the 8th pitch coming to Matt Joyce. Desmond on the move, and another walk up. Let's take a look at some of this pregame routine. BA, anything that you've ever done?
No, not getting ready for a big league game. Got the earphones in, got the little whatever that is, and then here you go with the long toss. And I'm telling you, that's covering some distance, and he got it there. Did that for quite a while before heading to the mound and actually getting up on that thing and starting to work on the pitches and getting them ready for the game.
2 base runners via the walk. Here's Ben Zobrist now. He takes the ball. Arestas?
Yeah.
Have you seen anything like that before?
No, I haven't. I mean, Daisuke Matsusaka used to do a pretty extensive long toss. Not all the other stuff, but not that long. But I wanted to ask BA, I mean, he's not a real big, thick guy. I mean, how much is this going to help him? I would think that it would hurt his 93-mile-an-hour fastball.
Well, that's what you wonder. You know, sometimes you get into a routine and it just takes on a life of its own. I mean, the routine becomes the thing, and it almost becomes, I don't want to say a mental crutch, but you can imagine if Trevor Bauer, they were talking about in spring training, if he didn't start the game and he was coming in second, he would have to go to a backfield because he needed to do his routine before he was able to pitch in a game and be mentally comfortable. So it kind of takes on a life of its own. I mean, anytime you see, listen, the body blade, I get it. Body blade will loosen up your shoulder in a hurry, but you know, he starts it right out in front of the dugout and then heads to that long toss where he progressively gets so far out there, you wonder how productive it is. But in his mind, that's what he needs to do, and the Indians right now are letting him do his thing.
And he has walked the bases loaded, missing on 4 straight pitches to Zobrist.
And Arestas, you know, we talked about earlier in this inning, a couple of hitters ago, the fact that these Rays hitters have not seen Trevor Bauer. How much of a help has this been with the 3 walks and already nearing 20 pitches for guys on the bench to be able to see what he's featured and where the arm angle is?
Of course, and now the pitching coach is going to come out and talk to him. Not only that, but I've been jotting down, he's thrown pretty much his whole arsenal. So that is what you want to see. And I know that Derek Shelton is jotting down notes in all the pitches. He's thrown his two-seamer, his four-seamer, his curveball. He's thrown the changeup numerous times. So now, even from the dugout, you've seen at least the rotation and the actual release of the ball. Even from afar, I'm telling you, as a hitter, that is huge. You can't get that from video. You can't get that from somebody telling you, hey, he's got a good changeup or a good slider. You need to see it, and even better, see it at home.
Well, Evan Longoria steps in to take a look with the bases loaded and nobody out. Evan lays off the fastball missing down. He missed up with a lot of his pitches and trying to make an adjustment. It's too low that time. But coming after the visit from Mickey Callaway, the Indians pitching coach. 1-1.
Yeah, not very often that you're able to load the bases without even having to put a ball in play. An inning that obviously the Rays need to take advantage of. Got the right guy at the plate.
Ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, pulled a little bit off that. It looked like a changeup. If so, it was a very hard changeup. That fastball bet 92, 94. This one at 88. You see, even though the location wasn't maybe where you would want it, right down the middle at the thigh, Evan was out front.
A piece of that one to stay alive again. That same pitch, about the same speed.
Yeah, that's almost a BP fastball. I mean, if it's just 5-6 miles an hour off of your traditional fastball, it's almost classify that as a BP fastball, but can be very effective because those 5 or 6 miles an hour can make a difference.
Some of the reports we've heard on Bauer is that he has the conventional stuff, but he tinkers with all of those and says the number of pitches he can throws up in the teens, the variations that he comes up with. Just with a curveball there.
The simple fact that he has a pitch that he calls an inverted slider. Okay.
Yeah. Sounds like a backup slider.
It sounds like, yeah, a heavy sinker, a screwball, but it is an inverted slider. We'll have to keep our eye out for that.
Evan fouls this one. So we've got a little battle here. Bases loaded. Nobody out. Jennings walked with the 3-1. Joyce had a nice at bat, 3-2, and saw 8 pitches and walked. Zobrist walked on 4 pitches. Now Longoria 2-2. He pops it up foul, and that's out of play. So the bases are loaded with nobody out, and Bauer's made 24 pitches so far.
Forcing him to work hard. And like Orestes was saying, you give all those hitters on the bench a nice look at them. There's going to be a lot of feedback, a lot of exchanging of information when these guys on base come in.
And now full count on Evan.
And again, most of the misses have been high. That front side gets going a little bit too quick. You can see how herky-jerky he can be. And there's a fine line there.
And he walks Longoria, and he missed by quite a margin. The Rays have the first run. 4 walks to open the Rays first. Evan picks up the run, batted in. Jennings crossing the plate.
Now just having a hard time mechanically making the adjustment. Look at all those pitches. They're at the middle of the plate and up, except for the one which was the first pitch of the at-bat. And then once again resorting to old habits. 4 straight walks now.
And James Loney is with an opportunity for a big first. It would went after that fastball up.
And went out of the zone to get it. Another fastball up. You know, Trevor Bauer, as he comes set, he's got that little dip backwards, and he starts to slide towards the plate, and that arm right now having a hard time getting to the proper release point.
He's almost pitching the way you throw in long toss.
And that's where you wonder if maybe that doesn't have something to do with it.
Pop up, Hall into foul territory. That's the first out.
You know, you want to practice like you're going to play, and when you're throwing that long toss, and he's throwing that ball with a lot of effort, but he's throwing it almost at a 45-degree angle all the way across the field. And then all of a sudden, as he gets on the mound, there's that dip right there with the shoulders, and then not able to get out over that front side. You see him spinning off over towards first base, just not able to get out to the finishing point to be able to drive that ball to its spot. And trust me, every pitcher struggles with that. Sometimes you get that front side, and we talk about it an awful lot, getting the front side going a little bit too soon or just not able to get out in front enough. Predictable where the pitch will end up.
And now Escobar. And a strike call. We're doing some reading on the reports of Bauer. He's big on torque, which a lot of people at the game certainly would be.
Yeah.
He talks about getting the bigger muscle groups involved in what he's doing because there would be more power there, so he's thinking in those terms. But right now, location is the issue.
You know, the best way to put it, just if you want a visual, he's pitching uphill. He's pitching uphill.
This is the 31st pitch of the inning on its way. Lined into right. It's going to hang up. Rayburn will make the catch. Tag at third. Joyce heads to the plate, and he is out. Thrown out as the Rays are retired and settled for one run. Escobar with a fly ball to right, and Rayburn guns down Joyce trying to score 9-2 on the play at the plate. And the Rays settled for one, leading 1-0.
No hits in the game, but the Rays with 4 walks in the first inning lead it 1-0. Prior to the game, a very special honor for David Price, Rays left-hander, as he was given the 2012 American League Cy Young Award. Nice crowd on hand to watch as David would get the award, raise it above his head, and the crowd went crazy, and only David Price could make a game out of winning the AL Cy Young Award. He would bring it down, crowd would get quiet, bring it back up, crowd got loud, down, quiet, up. And David Price, I asked him before the game where he was going to put that, and he said, I got a spot on my couch for it. So there you go, guys. Back to you.
Well, what a wonderful year he had, and it's great to see that kind of work pay off. It's one thing to have the ability, and it's another thing to apply it and to achieve what he has achieved already.
I thoroughly enjoyed watching him push the crowd's button.
That was fun.
That was good.
Nick Swisher leading off, 1-0 the count. And the cleanup hitter for Cleveland. Rays had a run out of all those walks in the bottom of the first. Swisher, Brantley, and Santana here against Cobb in this inning, and Alex doesn't like the feel of that baseball, wants a new one, and Dale Scott obliges.
Had 2 balls in it.
Yeah, and that's enough.
It's a worthless
It's
ball.
2-0.
Yeah,
Get that out of here.
need one with strikes.
There's ball 3. Well, he made 11 pitches in the first inning, and 9 of those were strikes. Now he's behind Swisher, 3-0. Bauer had a difficult time finding the strike zone. That's a strike for Cobb.
Unfortunate just to give up the 1 run. 4 straight walks to start the inning. You figure you're going to start at 1 run. We'll see how many we can get. End up with just the 1.
And now leadoff walk to Swisher. Leadoff hitter aboard for Cleveland. Tonight's Rays game presented in high definition. Brought to you by H.H. Gregg. Michael Brantley. Brantley, nothing of 2 last night with a walk, and off to a 6 of 13 start for the Indians. Ball, no strikes.
Alex trying to work his way back into the strike zone. You know, usually when you get to a guy like Alex Cobb, you're going to get to him early. Because once he settles into a good rhythm and starts to get that mix going with all 3 of his pitches, he is tough. So I'd like to see him tighten up that command here.
And he misses wide to Brantley, and that's going to get a visit for Cobb from Jim Hickey.
Yeah, and he almost threw that changeup right there like he was just trying to field up there. And you could see Alex right here, his career, the breakout, the AL East, 2.63, and obviously you would say that's probably the toughest division that he's going to pitch against, but the information is so good, and he's been locked in against them. Really has struggled against the American League Central with a 4.91 earned run average and a 2-4 record. And I think that's one of the keys of this season for the Rays, not just Alex Cobb, but for the Rays in general. You're going to have a very strong division. There's going to be a lot of parity, a lot of teams, you know, beating each other up throughout the division. So when you get outside of the division and you get into, you know, American League Central, you think last year was a weak division and the Rays had a losing record in that division. That can't happen this year. So that's got to be something that not only Alex but the team takes advantage of. When they play teams they're supposed to beat, you got to beat them.
Well, if the American League East is as balanced as a lot of people think it's going to be, they really can't afford to lose games out of the division. Kelly Johnson is in left tonight for the Rays and handles that one. Kelly Johnson in left field. Not an unusual place for him. He came up as an outfielder, but playing here inside a little different.
Yes, and I think that, you know, we were wondering because he had worked on it during spring training, and you knew that Kelly Johnson was going to see some, you know, some time in the outfield, specifically left field. But this roof can be very tough. We talked about it with visiting players, and Kelly Johnson not a whole lot of time underneath this roof, but you know, Joe Madden picks the perfect game to put him out there because he's got a guy on the mound that for the most part keeps the ball on the ground, so that limits his opportunities.
Carlos Santana in the box. Upstairs talking about playing outside the division and the need to be successful doing that. If the East is as balanced as we think it's going to be, you have 5 teams going to knock each other off a lot. and that may prevent a big win total at the end of the year. And if you're thinking to get to the postseason, lined into right, Joyce plays it on one hop. Swisher heads to third, and the relay throw over there, not in time. Well, Escobar just turned and went to third, thinking they had a play on Swisher, and they made it close.
Well, the reason that they had a play is Nick Swisher, a good read off the bat. He's going to go and head to third, but this ball was hit hard. It gets to Matt Joyce in a hurry. He turns and gets it in right away on a spin, and then Escobar turns and throws in one motion, and there you go. Close play, but it did look like he had gotten in. So Swisher right there with a great read, and he made his mind up. He's going.
The Indians put up a threat. Swisher now at third, Santana first on the base hit. Chisenhall. The pitch inside. Augustus, what are you seeing from down there?
Well, one of the things that I know BA alluded to before, I think last year a lot about Alex Cobb, is the first 45 pitches. And if I'm a hitter and I look at his splits going into a game, and again, he hasn't been around that long, so that's something I capitalize. And he struggles upwards of 280 first 45 pitches against the opposition, and then all of a sudden the second 45, when he gets towards 90, he dominates around average, keeps him over under 200. BA, why is that kind of that anomaly of a difference?
Well, for me, it's you go into a game, and is it game planning? I don't think so. I think Alex goes in with a good game plan. I think it's getting into that good rhythm, that good mechanical rhythm where you start to let your pitches do their thing. And so early on, you're searching for that, the consistency of the release point. You're searching for a good rhythm. You're searching for a comfort level out there on the mound. And then, boom, once it clicks in, boy, oh boy, there are games when I've been out there before where you don't even think about it. You pick a pitch and you know it's going there, and you know that they're not going to be able to do anything with it with any kind of authority. And so Alex Cobb, it looks like the first couple of innings, that's why you say you better get to him early, because once he settles in, he becomes very tough.
Chisenhall out front on a changeup in the dirt, and a roller to second. Zobrist Escobar one, first base two, 4-6-3 as they roll up the double play ball to get out of that jam. Middle of the second, 1-0 Rays.
Indians 1-0. Tonight's game and all season long, Tires Plus will donate $100 to the Pediatric Cancer Foundation for every Tampa Bay Rays home run televised on Sun Sports.
The Rays scored one time in the first inning. That threat ended in a double play on the liner to right off the bat of Escobar. resulting in Joyce being cut down at the plate. And with Cleveland threatening in the top of the second, the ground ball 4-6-3 double play got the Rays out of that spot. So it's 1-0 Tampa Bay. Shelley Duncan leads off against Trevor Bauer, who made 31 pitches in the first inning. And he throws a strike to Duncan. Outside edge, 0-2.
2 pitches, but those are the best 2 pitches that Trevor Bauer has thrown all night. A good fastball with conviction down and away, and then a nice tight little slider to the outside corner.
All 2 strikes. Squared. His approach started at an early age. Trevor Bauer, his father was a chemical engineer, and through that influence he approached the game from a very scientific approach.
Left field.
Well, he started that long toss in high school, so he's been doing that for a while.
Here it was in the early going. The bases loaded walked the first 4 hitters of the game, and then James Loney will pop out here and then able to get the unconventional double play with a very strong throw here by Ryan Rayburn, able to cut down Matt Joyce.
Duncan is out on strikes. Jose Molina will be up there. The plan for the Indians with Bauer is to have him come up here and pitch this game and then go back to the minor leagues. He's pitching this game because Scott Kazmir, who made the Indians rotation and was added to their roster, he came up with a rib cage strain, so they had to find someone to replace him. They call up Bauer on essentially an emergency basis. Their plan is to have him pitch tonight and then return to the minor leagues.
Well, as excited as they are to have Trevor Bauer, to get him in that trade, they understand needs a little bit more seasoning, and that's the plan.
It's 2-1 to count to Molina.
You know, they needed him because Carlos Carrasco, who's I think going to take over for him, was suspended for the first 6 games from an incident that happened back in 2011, so he was not able to pitch this game.
Picked up by Cabrera in time, and it's the second out of the inning. A strikeout and now a ground out. 2 up, 2 down.
And you know, guys, he really seems to have settled down a little bit down here from my vantage point on field level, but I still think, like Bia alluded to, he's still rushing a little bit with his body. And but nevertheless, he's getting enough of the pitches, or getting on top with his arm to get a little more of a dip and a little more of a dive down, but still missing up could be dangerous for him.
Yeah, the one thing that you don't want to see is Trevor Bauer, after walking the first 4 hitters of a game, and you haven't even put the ball in play and you're already up 1-0. Well, then nothing after that. You don't want him to all of a sudden find it and figure it out and then go out 5-6 innings of quality baseball, and you missed opportunity in the first.
Ahead of Kelly Johnson. Johnson lifts a fly ball toward the right field corner with a little carry. Rayburn's going to have room a few steps from that 322 marker. He makes the catch. The Rays are retired in the second inning. David Price in celebration form. The Rays lead 1-0 through 2. Third, it's 1-0. Cleveland will have Ryan Rayburn to lead off against Alex Cobb. Rays will wrap up this homestand tomorrow with David Price against Justin Masterson. That's a great matchup. And then Rays will play 20 of their next 26 games on the road. I guess it's better to get them out of the way early. You're fresh.
Yes.
You know, you're
anxious to get out there and play.
That's right.
Don't need the off days yet. Well, first 2 road trips, 10 games each, which adds up to 20, I believe.
That's it.
Every time.
Strike the count to Rayburn. Found himself walking the leadoff man in the second. And he got out of that with a double play ball. 1-1 with Rayburn. Rayburn strokes it into left. He'll make the turn. So a leadoff single. Rayburn had a good spring. He was in camp with the Indians as a non-roster player and made the team. And he can swing the bat.
He really forced his way onto that Cleveland roster. Got off to a scalding start right at the beginning of camp. 3 home runs like right away. Continued that hot spring, and you're right, he can swing the bat. He got a hanging change up there and shot that ball out with some authority.
The Cleveland catcher, Lou Marson, up there. .70 games last year behind the plate, total of 226. With Cobb out there, that double play ball is always a possibility with that great ground ball to fly ball ratio.
That's why when Alex is in good rhythm and he's keeping the ball down in the zone, he forces you to have to put together basically 3 hits to score a run. He figures, I'll get that ground ball to one of my middle infielders before you can do that. You saw that come out in the second. Runners on first and third, he got the inning-ending double play.
Missed by much on that one. It's 2 balls and a strike. It was a big lift for the Rays a year ago. He was recalled when Jeff Neiman went on the disabled list in May, about the 3rd week of May. And now he is behind in the count here, 3-1. The second 3-ball count, the first time through the order. Full count.
A half-hearted swing here by Lou Marson. Fastball down in the zone, right out over the plate. So geared up in that 3-1 count, you want a fastball. That's why sometimes go ahead, give him the fastball, just put it in a good spot. Although it should have been ball 4.
Runner takes off, and there is ball 4. That
well, a little stumble there by Alex Cobb on that delivery. Caught the front cleat as he was delivering that pitch to the plate. And that's what threw off the entire rhythm of that pitch. Watch as he picks up and comes down right there. That heel catches. Forget about it. This is just a reminder as you enjoy a cold one to look forward to Miller Time later in tonight's game, brought to you by Miller Lite. That man right there should have had Miller Time in last night's ball game. 6 strong innings by Matt Moore, scoreless, just gave up 2 hits, struck out 8.
Yeah, just a couple times when things might have gone the wrong way for him, and he put it right back on track and had himself a very good outing. Joe Madden after the game was talking about how he thought that was truly something that Matt could build on. Take pride in that outing. The bunt by Bourne. Back to second. They get the out there. Rayburn goes to third, and so they keep one man out of scoring position, at least for a while.
Well, that's that strong Rays defense. Very proactive in their approach. Not just going to take the out at first and allow the Indians to move 2 hitters up. Okay, we'll give you 1. You can move 1, but right here, Evan Longoria so aggressively gets to that ball and then is able to throw it right over to Escobar, the shortstop, covering second.
And that's heads up because he knew he had the catcher running, and so it was worth a look. That's just a little pre-planning, pre-thought there.
No stone left unturned by Joe Madden and his staff.
Bourne at first. Rayburn at third. Cabrera in the batter's box. And a strike at the knees. Michael Bourne. High velocity runner over there at first base. Had 61 steals one year in the National League with Houston. He hit 42 last year with Atlanta. An eye on Bourne at first.
You know, guys, that play right there, Yunel Escobar has to be awake. And one of the things that the extended spring training with WBC this year gave the Rays and all the other teams, they were able to work on a lot of extra plays and really get the PFP really properly out of the way. And it showed right there on that smart heads-up play by both guys on the left side.
Popper. Escobar is going to handle that. 2 gone.
Well, making pitches right there, and he take the sting out of Cabrera's bat. Wasn't the best breaking ball you're going to see from Alex Cobb, but it was effective. And now he's got a chance to get out of this inning once again. Bear down here on Kipnis.
Yeah, Kipnis last year shared the RBI lead on this club with Santana. And most of the damage that he handed out came in the first half.
Well, then all of a sudden the league starts to make adjustments to you. They figure out where your weaknesses are, where the holes in your swing are. And these pitchers are good enough to exploit it. Now it's up to you to make a corresponding adjustment.
Popping away, but not far enough to give either runner any ideas about advancing.
Well, that's where, you know, Michael Bourne being a good base stealer, anticipate you see this ball in the dirt and it's clear that it's going to get there. You can anticipate that and should be down at second base with his speed. That's where that secondary lead and anticipation comes into play.
A strike. 1-1. He was a late sign, but a big one for the Indians, Michael Bourne. Now, Kipnis last night didn't appear to be picking up the ball all that well. Now Bourne takes off and the pitch is chopped foul. The count goes up to 1-2.
I think that's Michael Bourne saying, I should have been there on the curveball in the dirt. I'm going now. I'm good. Come hell or high water, I'm going to get to second base.
Cobb ahead in the count. And boy, that pitch was close in. And that squares the count.
Boy, nice idea here by Cobb, trying to get that front door sinker. Ooh, could have. You can see how the hitter just gives up on it, and you just pray that it's a ball.
It's popped up. Escobar out there after it. Here comes Jennings, and Desmond makes the catch. So Alex Cobb works his way out of that spot. Rays lead 1-0.
We'll lead things off for the Rays against Trevor Bauer. We have a couple of special guests with us right here. We have both Carol Curdell, she is the Hillsborough County School Board Vice Chair, and the Hillsborough County New Teacher of the Year, Cassie Madison. We're going to start with you, Carol. It's been an exciting year over there in Hillsborough County, and I hear there's a number of National Merit Scholars. Tell us about that.
Yes, we have 62 this year, 20 more than last year. Wow. We're very, very excited. We have 19 National Achievement winners, right, which are our academically African-American students who achieve so high, and then 32 Hispanic students, which is more than we've ever had. So we're very excited about it.
Now, when you talk about the number of National Merit Scholars, so many students with that high level of academic accomplishment, how did that happen? How did that occur?
Well, it happens like a baseball team happens. You've got great managers, great players, so we have great teachers and great students, and we've pushed them academically over the last 4 or 5 years to take AP courses, to stretch beyond their comfort level for both teachers and students, and as you can see, it's really paying off.
One of your great teachers is to your right, New Teacher of the Year in Hillsborough County, Cassie Madison. You teach one of those very challenging courses. How is it a challenge for you as well?
It is a challenge. You have to push yourself, and then the kids see that you're pushing yourself, and then you push the kids, and we all work together, and we're prepared. And it's not just at my school. It's schools all across the district. They're doing the same thing, pushing each other and bringing each other up to the top, and we can see the results.
Cassie Madison teaches at Spoto High School, and you got your Ray shirt on. You got a little bit of baseball background in your family, huh?
I do. My husband, Tim, who's also a teacher, he played 3 years in the Angels organization, and he played at USF. He was a pitcher there. So
yeah, USF Bulls, 3 years in the minor leagues for the Angels, right? And lefty or righty?
Righty. I wish he was a lefty. Maybe he'd still be playing.
Well, we have Cassie. We have Carol. It's Hillsborough County School night here at Tropicana Field. And right now, let's go back to the boys.
All right, Todd, thank you very much. Full count here to Desmond Jennings leading off the Rays half the third. And there's ball 4, and Bauer walks him for the second straight time. You know, the interesting thing here about Bauer, the ironic thing with all of the control issues he had in the first inning, the first time through the lineup, 1-9. He had 7 of 9 first pitch strikes. And now a leadoff walk here to Jennings. Let's see if the Rays can cash in this time.
That kind of throws the first pitch strike theory right out the window.
Just an anomaly.
Riddle wrapped in a conundrum or some sort. Past the Advil.
Very complicated. There goes Jennings. A great jump, and he is safe. Stolen base for Desmond Jennings.
Well, Desmond had to have gotten a good jump because that was a pretty good transfer there by Marson. Off and running. Well, this is what he brings to the table. That's what we talk about on base percentage with Desmond Jennings. You get him out there more often. More chances for this to throw a little bit wide, and Desmond able to get underneath it, although a bit closer from that angle than what we saw from up here.
Matt fouls it. It's 1-1. I'll tell you, Marson really made that a play.
Yes, he did. I mean, he got rid of that ball in a hurry. Backup catcher here for the Cleveland Indians handles the staff. Good catch and throw, guys. We just saw. Grayson may have gotten away with one there.
Now Jennings heads to third, and he is safe there. He timed up Bauer.
That's it. That was stolen off of Trevor Bauer. He got a walking, almost a running lead off of the youngster. Lou Marson had absolutely no shot at making that a play. Watch it. Look at, oh boy, yeah, he had a running lead. Too easy.
See, and that's part of the game that Jennings has excelled in before, but I think now he knows how important he is to this team. We're going to see more and more of that out of Desmond Jennings this year. Chop to third. Chisenhall's coming to the plate. Desmond bowls him over, and Marson hangs onto the baseball. Jennings trying to get in there to avoid the tag, and Marson up on one knee right now. They're checking him to make sure he's okay. Jennings is cut down at the plate.
Desmond Jennings hit Lou Marson square, rolled him right over. Desmond going on contact. That ball, Chisenhall had to go up for it. Boy, oh boy.
With a chopper, Desmond thought he had a chance to get in there.
And that was just solid contact, square. Hit Marson square. Look at that.
I gotta admit, guys, that was fun to watch this close over here. That was like a linebacker hit, and I know that we all know that Desmond Jennings played football in Alabama prep school. In fact, had offered to play for Nick Saban at University of Alabama. He's a quarterback, I believe, so he doesn't mind contact. Great job.
It was fun for everybody but that guy wearing the equipment.
Yeah.
Well, everything went flying, including the Indians catcher, and Marson appears to be okay, but they wanted to check him over and make sure.
Oh, this heightened awareness nowadays with the concussion issues started in football has moved into baseball. Yeah, they're going to do their due diligence before they let Marson stay in this ballgame.
So Terry Francona's out there just to doubly make sure.
But it's going to be hard to get any catcher out of a game like that. These guys are tough guys for obvious reasons.
Well, and Santana, their catchers in the game, has a DH. Ben Zobrist, so Marsden stays in there. Joyce reaching on the fielder's choice. Zobrist walked his first time. Drove in 3 runs last night in a 2-for-4 night, 2 doubles. 7 runs batted in for Zobrist on this opening homestand. He's up in the count 2-0. Picks up a strike around the knees. Bauer walked the bases loaded in the first and then walked Longoria, forcing home the only run of this game so far. Zobrist checks. Now he's up 3-1. A lot of movable parts with Bauer's delivery.
Let's take a quick look at that check swing.
Close.
Yeah, he took it right about as far as you can without it getting called. And you're right, there is an awful lot going on in Trevor Bauer's delivery. It's a violent delivery. There's a lot of different parts to it. And really the timing has to be correct on each and every part for you to get to a consistent release point. We've seen that he's not been able to do that tonight.
And he walks Zobrist for the second time tonight. That pushes Joyce down to second base. 2 men on with 1 out for Evan Longoria. So 6 walks. He's up to 60 pitches.
Yeah, if you were to say a guy's going to have 6 walks through 2 1/3 inning, you've got to cash in if you're the Rays. Cannot let him wiggle off the hook this time. And again, you got the right man at the plate.
30 strikes, 30 non-strikes. And Evan Longoria, who walked to force home the game's only run, is up here in the 3rd inning. A strike over the outside edge. One and one. Base runners all over the place for the Rays. No hits for the Rays, and they walked 6 times. Tapper, Hall will take it to first. Low throw, scooped by Swisher.
We're testing Nick Swisher right there. Slow roller. Swisher coming in to play first base for the Cleveland Indians after coming in from right field and showing some nice glove work here on a low, wide throw there by Chisenhall. Taking a deep breath afterwards, too. He realizes that was a 2-run scoop. He's also giving him the look like, would you cut me some slack? Come on. I'm a right fielder.
Well, that's the other thing. Playing behind a guy like Bauer, who has had control issues, he's taking a lot of time and he's walked a lot of hitters. And that sometimes affects the defenders behind you. Starts Loney upstairs.
They have a tendency to start sinking into their heels, and Arestas can speak to this because he's been out there. But when you're behind a pitcher who's having trouble with his command and falling behind everybody, a lot of deep counts, it cannot be easy to keep the concentration, stand out of your position.
Loney again takes it high, 2-0.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that. In fact, I remember a comment by Yankee captain Derek Jeter, with all the great pitchers they've been there in the last 10 years, Sabathia and Pettit, the guy that he loves playing behind the most was Ching-Ming Wan. Why? Because of all the sinkers working fast, keeping him on the balls of his feet, not the slow-paced guys that throw a lot of balls.
And that's what we have tonight so far. 3-0 the count here to Loney. Bauer has now thrown more non-strikes than strikes in this game. Escobar on deck. And Loney walks, so that'll load him up. 4 walks in the first inning, now 3 walks in the third inning. Terry Francona, a patient guy, and his patience tested tonight.
Are you talking to me? Yes, it is. I mean, anytime, again, you're in the third inning, your pitcher's already walked 7 hitters, been in trouble just about every inning, still the Rays with just the 1 run, throwing a lot of pitches, and you're going to have to dip into that bullpen before too long.
First pitch strike to Escobar. Well, you walk 7 guys in under 3 innings, and you're out there pitching as if the sword of Damocles is hovering over your head. That's a strike. 0-2. And so far Bauer has escaped, allowing only the 1 run. One ball, 2 strikes. And Escobar out on strikes. Swung over that pitch up. Second strikeout. So the Rays do not score. It was an interesting trip around the bases for Desmond Jennings. A steal a second, steal a third, and the crash at the plate. He was out. The Rays lead 1-0. Believe it or not, we go to the fourth inning, and let's call on Kelly Nash. Kelly?
Hi, Dwayne. Flashing back to last season, the Indians had a hot start, fizzled out through the second half, finishing fourth in their division, which brings us to our Twitter question of the day. Where will the Tribe finish in the AL Central this year? Hashtag TB1 for first, TB2 for second, TB3 for third, TB4 for fourth, and TB5 for last. Tweet me at Sun Sports Rays.
All right, Kelly, thank you very much. 71 pitches made by Trevor Bauer here. He's walked 7, 2 strikeouts, and the Rays have scored a run without a hit. And Nick Swisher leads off the fourth. Swisher, Brantley, and then Santana. Alex Cobb out there on the mound. One and one. Now the Rays have drawn 7 walks. They walked only 4 times in the first 4 games. 2 and 1. Does it look any different to you, Orestes, from where you are on the field level? Looks strange up here.
Yeah, as far as Cobb or the other kid? The Bauer.
Well, the other kid, yeah.
No, Cobb looks nice. I really like his curveball, and B.A. talked about it a little bit earlier, that he's seeing the snap and sharpness. So far, I've seen some nasty curveballs, and the changeup is good changeup. There it is right there. So when he starts blending that in, and remember, we talked about how he settles in. He's at 47 pitches. Hopefully that'll hold true, and he'll even get a little nastier as the game progresses now into about 90, 100 pitches.
2-2 with Swisher. There's where Orestes is down there in the photographer's well. And he strikes out Swisher with a fastball.
And look at those last 2 pitches there by Alex Cobb. He threw that changeup that stayed out over the plate. Look, he's still not happy with himself. That's a guy who takes his trade very seriously. This is the fastball, typically down and into the lefty. You get hurt with that pitch. He's able to sneak that one by Swisher. But Alex Cobb, always looking to improve, takes a strikeout, says, well, that's not a sequence that I can go to again. Try to get better. And we talked about it even last night. The guy's a competitor, and when he's out there, he dials it up.
The first pitch strike to Brantley. So we've seen him get into his rhythm like that and just motor through lineups.
Even the game last year that he took a beating as far as his line goes in Kansas City, where he was beat up so badly early, but yet guess what? He went complete game there.
Zobrist takes that hopper. So a strikeout and a ground out. 2 up, 2 down. So the bases are empty for Carlos Santana. Santana had a base hit in the second. Cobb had to work his way out of a little trouble in the second. He got a double play ball to end that inning. The Indians had a couple base runners in the third. 2 outs, bases empty in the fourth. One and 0. Cobb, born in Boston, but grew up pretty much in the Vero Beach area. Jennings in center field. A 1-2-3-4 for Cobb. We go to the bottom of the fourth. 1-0 Tampa Bay. Sun Sports is brought to you by Toyota. Let's go places. And by the Tampa Bay Times, the official newspaper of the Rays and their fans. We're at Tropicana Field tonight. Headed into the home half of the fourth. Carlos Santana will take over behind the plate. Lou Marson leaving after that collision at the plate in the bottom of the third. Here's another look at that. And now they've removed Marson from the game.
Well, you can see how square Desmond Jennings hit Lou Marson. Right here's a great shot of it. Put him right on his backside. Some whiplash involved too. How far that mask went out of the screen.
Carlos Santana, who is now the catcher, started the night as the DH. So Bauer, the pitcher, will go into the ninth spot. And Bauer, who through 3 innings has made 71 pitches, will face Shelley Duncan. And he starts him with a curveball and drops it right in there for a strike. Tapper foul. Rays left 2 men in the first when they scored a run, and 3 in the third. 7 walks and no hits. The Rays have a run. A couple strikeouts in the mix for Bauer. And a liner back into left. Brantley on the run, grabs it.
Yeah, we talk about the athleticism and the good defense of the Rays outfield. The Indians have that aspect this year also. Michael Brantley in left. Obviously, with the signing of Michael Bourne, he goes into center. 2 guys right there that can run and cover some ground. And this was a nice job by Brantley getting on his horse right away.
Jose Molina bounce. Well, it's going to be interesting. You know, they have Jason Giambi.
Yeah.
And when he comes back, and that's going to be soon, you know, they could then move Swisher to right. And Reynolds at first, Giambi DHing. And that would make this pretty interesting.
Yeah, I mean that's where you're going to play with those spots, because you've got Drew Stubbs out there, but we all know Swisher can play out there.
Base hit into left. Molina has the first hit for the Rays, sharply through the hole between short and third.
But that absolutely gives Terry Francona just another option. And again, when you start talking about matchups and you talk about putting that lineup together and Mark Reynolds in the field and Giambi at DH, a left-handed hitter to go with all those switch hitters. Got a chance to be pretty dynamic.
Kelly Johnson, the hitter. Bounce right back over the screen.
Well, they really like the veteran leadership that Giambi brings to this clubhouse, too. A guy that's been around for a long time. Played on a lot of successful teams.
Well, he was over in the National League, mostly pinch hitting. That's a tough way to make a living. There's a long drive, high and deep down the right field line. Gone! Home run for Kelly Johnson. A 2-run shot, and the Rays lead 3-0. Kelly Johnson showing some of that left-handed power, and right down the line takes Bauer out of here.
How about if you go back to his previous at-bat? He got under one and hit a towering fly ball down the right field line that ended up just short. Not this one. Got out around that baseball and kept it fair.
pitch to Jennings. Desmond takes a strike on the outside corner. Kelly Johnson unloading his first home run in a Rays uniform. The Rays have a 3-run lead. Hall from third makes the play. Jennings the second out on the chopper down to third. Well, the Rays not only picked up their first hit, picked up a couple hits, and the second one, a long one, a home run. After missing some opportunities early, settling for just the 1 run in 3 innings, they got 2 in a hurry, courtesy of Kelly Johnson. Strike to Matt Joyce. Two-year-old right-hander, Bauer out of UCLA. We saw that the long toss preparation. They say in high school he used to go to a neighboring park and throw long toss by himself. He'd take a bucket of balls on one end of the park and throw them to the other end and then collect them and throw them back.
Why is that not the least bit surprising?
Ground ball to first. Swisher. Bauer covers. That retires Joyce and the Rays, but the Rays put 2 on the board on a home run down the right field line, hit by Kelly Johnson, and the Rays lead 3-0.
Rays lead to 3-0 over the Indians. We head into top of the 5th inning. Rays baseball at Tropicana Field is the perfect place to host your group event. Whether you are getting a group of friends together or entertaining your clients and employees, Tropicana Field is the place to be.
Trevor Bauer due to hit third in this inning. He swung the bat briefly with the Diamondbacks over the National League last year, and so he's due to hit third in the 5th inning, dropping into the lineup with their DH Santana moving in behind the plate. Tony Chisenhall leads it off in the 5th. Pitch. It's a strike. Foul up the right side. 0-2 Chisenhall. Suffered a broken wrist last year. Divided time between Columbus and Cleveland. At 314 AAA, and then with the Indians at 268. Foul out of play.
Well, they're hoping that Lonnie can be the long-term answer down at third base.
Well, he was their first-round pick in 2008, and they've been waiting for him to arrive in Cleveland. He's been part of 2011 in Cleveland. Shoots it into right field. One hop, Joyce cuts it off, and then will hold Chisenhall to a single.
You know, everything about that pitch there by Alex Cobb, he really slowed down his mechanics all the way through. Had pretty good arm speed on the changeup, but everything was slow. And then you combine that with the location of the pitch being out over the plate, and Chisenhall was able to take a good swing at it. Everything very deliberate here, and then it just hangs for him.
Ryan Rayburn. First pitch strike.
If this were your Alex Cobb, you just go right back to work. Let that ball track towards the ground. Try to get Rayburn to hit something on the ground for you.
Indians had men in scoring position in the 2nd and again in the 3rd. They left men on base. Now leadoff base hit by Chisenhall. Excuse me. 1-1 to count to Rayburn. 2 balls and a strike.
You know, we could ask Arestas, but Arestas, what was your approach when you were going to face a guy like Alex Cobb, who has such a tremendous sinker? What were you thinking up there as a hitter? What were you looking for? What were you trying to do?
Well, that's a great point. In the book, if I was coming in now this year versus Alex Cobb, I would not be that worried about that snapdragon curveball he's throwing right now. And that's something that he's added to his repertoire, and purposefully this winter. And obviously in spring training, we saw him really get into it with the first pitch, curveball, strike a lot of times. I'd be thinking fastball, keep my shoulder, and I was a switch hitter. I'm looking towards State Farm in left field because of the changeup, because of the split fork changeup. And I had to learn that in Japan a lot and hit like that because of the fork changeups that I saw a lot over there, but not worry so much about the curveball.
Right back down the middle into center field for Desmond Jennings, and Rayburn is the first out.
And what that does, and even talking to Arestas right there with his approach, that's the whole reason why Alex Cobb has now really started to incorporate that first pitch curveball. Yeah. Because you're going up there, you're not looking for that pitch. So if I can drop that in there, guess what? Listen, like you said, hitters are up there looking for the sinker, looking for something elevated. They're not looking for first pitch curveball. So drop it in and get automatically ahead of the guy 0-1.
And also, I mean, the fact that I do not remember, B.A., his curveball being in this kind of almost Jeff Neiman when he's on type curveball, that Bugs Bunny kind of snap on it. I would have ruled that out really in my going up against Alex Cobb 2013 in April. I'm thinking left center and not worrying about this curveball either for pitch 1 or even later in the at bat. He's throwing it nicely.
Trevor Bauer shortening as if to bunt. He did have one sacrifice bunt in a brief appearance with Arizona last year. He's hitting here. He was 0 for 4 as a hitter last year with Arizona. A 1-strike count. Cobb gets the jump on him. 0-2.
And that right there, if you're going to lay down the bunt, that's the perfect pitch to try and bunt. Fastball with a little bit of elevation, not too high, out over the plate. You can just push and drop down. Now you're down on the count 0-2.
And he takes it and is out on strikes. The pitch on the corner. Chisenhall is still at first. Time now for the Just for Men Auto Stop foolproof stat. See, most runs scored in the American League since the 1st of August last year. And look at Desmond Jennings, even with an on-base percentage of .314. That's why the Rays want to see a better on-base percentage, and you'll see those numbers get even better than that.
And if he continues with his early season approach, you will see that on-base percentage continue to climb. Not giving away at bats and working his way through each and every one.
The first pitch curveball that the Russians was talking about, a strike taken by Michael Bourne.
And why not? 0-1, now go to work.
And throw down to first. Boy, that's a great throw right on the bag by Molina.
Well, Jose Molina with that quick open release, and he's got Michael Bourne as a shield. It's like taking a shot in hockey with your guy right in front of the goal. Right here. Better have your head on a swivel. You're down there at first base. This was close.
Well, you can't make a better throw to the bag than that one. Stays in. Cobb tried to get it to come back. We're in the 5th. The Rays got a run in the 1st, 2 runs in the 4th inning. Trevor Bauer against Alex Cobb tonight. And strike 3 is called. Well, he started him with a curve. He ended him with a curve. Leadoff single. Chisenhall left at first. Here's the strikeout pitch as we go to the bottom of the 5th. 3-0 Rays.
It's 3-0, and here's what's coming up tomorrow. On Rays Live, the pregame show presented by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers, Dr. Sam Fold. The USF nursing program. David Price will be talking about his second start of the year, and I'll get involved.
Yes, you will. First pitch to Ben Zobrist is a strike. Middle of the order for the Rays. Zobrist, Longoria, and Loney.
I'm excited. It's my first Sunday rant. Maybe it will involve breakfast food.
Foul. Nothing at 2. Zobrist with a couple of bases on balls here in this game. Arestis, what have you observed about this good start by Ben Zobrist?
You know, I think this has been coming on for pretty much the second half of last year. Obviously, he took off in June. And one key thing that he has done, and I'm sure he went back home and continued to work on it even more, is being a little better and stronger with his bottom hand. Being, well, not on that little ground ball to first base there. He rolled over on it. But that is his kind of his issue at many times, is top hand heavy. And he's really concentrated in the last couple of seasons to be bottom hand driven, much like what Evan Longoria is very good at. And when he does that, guys, he really drives the ball. He doesn't hook it foul. In fact, keeps it fair like he did twice yesterday. And that's such a huge thing for Ben Zobrist, and he seems to be mastering it.
There's Evan Longoria. Interesting point you bring up there. Strike to Longoria. Oh, on the bottom hand. You know, Zobrist is a switch hitter, and you would think from the left side that bottom hand would be dominant, because it's, you know, he throws right-handed. That's why it's remarkable when you see a guy like Longoria, who's so strong with the bottom hand. That's his offhand, his left hand.
Yeah, you know what I think it is with Zoe is that's just the way that he, through amateur ball on through high school, just hit. He hit top hand heavy. There was a guy that I played winter ball with, and you know very well, he's actually a hitting coach for the Colorado Rockies, Dante Bichette. He had a very successful career doing that, but that's an anomaly. You really want to be bottom hand heavy. And I think Zoe he does it on both sides, guys. So it doesn't matter. When he's hitting righty, he's righty top hand heavy. When he's hitting lefty, he's lefty top hand heavy. So it's just his approach, and you get into a habitual issue. And now I think he's kind of really being more cognizant to not roll over, drive, and he's so quick, and he's got such a great eye that he could be very productive with this monster at the plate, protecting him behind him.
Yeah, if he can do that, it could be an explosive situation for him.
I believe so. I think we're looking at a potential here, you know, that you saw a few years ago with a Ryan Braun and a Prince Fielder, that you're seeing now with Miguel Cabrera and Prince Fielder. I mean, two really very good hitters.
Evan will see another 3-2 pitch, fouling that one off to keep the at-bat going.
And I will say that this kid, Evan Longoria, for his age and tenure so far, he's so quiet. I love using him as an example to kids, talking about hitting quiet, 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 and then he snaps the bat just like that. And my phrase this year for this team is quiet is loud. And it might sound weird, but believe it or not, for hitting, you want to be very, very, very quiet, let the ball travel, then explode. Last year, as a team, we were loud and then seemed to be very quiet. By that I mean we had a lot of big swingers. We were second in the league in strikeouts in the American League with over 1,250 strikeouts. I think we're going to not be as strikeout heavy this year. I think we have a lot more professional hitters, a lot more quiet hitters that let the ball travel and snap the bat.
3-2, and Evan pops it towards shallow center. Bourne, with a lot of time, gets there. 2 away. How about this so far? That goes the topic of our conversation this year and last year early, but that's not altogether surprising. You look at the lineup.
Not at all. Not at all. And you're talking about 15 less strikeouts. That's 15 times, more times the ball has been put into play. You have an opportunity for good things to happen.
James Loney, pitch number 100 is low.
And this is a big reason why. James Loney, that's what he brings. Not going to hit you 30 home runs, but he is going to put a good at bat. More than likely put the ball in play. It's going to go a long way towards helping out that final number. Russ is talking about, Longoria letting the ball travel and being quiet at the plate. This is exactly the reason that Chris Davis is off to the start that he is. You talk about quiet at the plate and letting the ball travel. That's the only way that he's been able to juice those pitches that are down and away from him the other way for damage.
Yeah, he's hit pitchers' pitches.
Yeah.
And even pitches off the plate. He's just been remarkable.
Yeah, and the tendency, you want to, as a pitcher, you throw that pitch because you want the hitter to try to go out and get it. And when he goes out and gets it, he's going to typically roll it over. Something weak, pop it up. They let that ball go and they trust their plate coverage in their hands. Look out.
Only a good rip right there, and he fouled it back. Well, how about this? Chris Davis, that's big company right there. 4 home runs in the first 4 games of the season.
And it's not 4 home runs and 7 ribbies. No. 16.
Loney reaching and lifts it into left center where Bourne makes the catch. The Rays are out. We're through 5. 3-0 Tampa Bay.
Leading 3-0. Cobb seems to be settling in it in the 5th inning. B&I talked about the curveball. First pitch curveball, something that's not in his scouting report. Then fastball, another fastball in. Got you thinking all sorts of things. There's a pretty good little hitter in Michael Bourne. Curveball, backdoor curveball. The scouting report got all messed up right now. And BA, my point there is for a young pitcher, young hitter, in the major leagues, it's all about adjustments because you have a little bit of success and then the league says, okay, let's check you out and we're going to adjust to you now. We know your strong suits. We're going to go elsewhere. Then you have to adjust. And it looks like this is what the kid Cobb is doing. He's bettered his curveball and says, I got to mix that into my repertoire. I'm not just a sinker changeup guy. And that's what's happening. And last night, I'll tell you, because you were a lefty starter, I also saw that from Matt Moore, where he mixed in a left-handed versus lefty changeup against Kipnis, something that I hadn't seen him do before, and that's dangerous, but if it works, that's very effective.
It is dangerous, and that was for the longest time. They would discourage you from throwing that pitch, but you're right, it just adds another pitch that a hitter has to look for rather than just going out there. And so many times, a left-handed starter like Matt Moore and a left-handed hitter is like, I got 2 pitches to look for. That's it. And it's going to be breaking ball, fastball, and the majority of them are going to be away. Makes it a lot easy for your approach. Now all of a sudden you start dropping fastballs in. We made that point with Cesar Ramos, the way that he's able to bury that fastball in on left-handed hitters. That's huge for him. And then you're able to throw a left-handed hitter changeup, and now the hitter's got to worry about everything.
Cobb starts with Cabrera, who hits it on the ground. And Escobar throws out Asdrubal Cabrera. And there's Cesar Ramos. I'll tell you what, he's the one pitcher who was impressive against Davis.
Went through 2 bats.
Yeah.
He got him out
in the same at bat.
That's right. And he did that again because of his willingness to throw that fastball and keep it true on the inner half, inner third, and even in off the plate against the left-handed hitters. And he did it consistently. Really didn't miss a spot in all the fastballs in that he threw to the lefties.
Indians second baseman Jason Kipnis.
You know, Arestas, going back to your point about adjustments, we talked about Jason Kipnis in the start that he got off to last year. Red hot, really cooled down in the second half, and then here a slow start off this year. Once again, you realize what a guy's doing well. You make adjustments, you find something that works, and then these pitchers and the scouting reports that go around, they just continue to hammer those holes. And until Kipnis makes the adjustment, it's going to be a struggle for him.
You know, sometimes you just want to be like Miguelito Cairo and just not do too great and hang around the big leagues for about 17 years. Because if they find you out, it could be a problem. He finally retires. But no, you're right. That's exactly what happens when you have that success, or you come up with hype like an Alex Cobb has, or a Kipnis. There's no doubt that after that offseason, with all the technology we have now and all the cross-checking scouting, they'll find out your weakness and they'll exploit it.
It's a Tapper foul. The count is still 1-2. Ball game in the top of the 6th. Alex Cobb settling in. He had a couple of men on base in the second inning through the double play ball, and the Indians threatened in the third. He got out of that, leaving 2 men, and other than that, not much in the way of a threat so far by Cleveland.
These scouting reports nowadays and the printouts that these players get, they go a little bit further than Arestas when, you know, when we were playing. Even when you were down in the minor leagues, you know, you'd be at AAA and you'd go over the lineup and they'd be like, what do you got on this guy? Well, oh wait, we had an assistant coach. Our first base coach coached him 3 years ago on A-ball and said that he really didn't like the breaking ball.
Yep.
Okay. Check.
Ground ball that's knocked down by Cobb. He recovers and makes the throw to get Kipnis. Cobb giving up his backside there to help make that play.
Whatever it takes. Better than the front side.
Nice carom and nice recovery.
Don't think they'll have to be worrying about a concussion on that play right there. I think we're okay. I think we're safe.
Nick Swisher. Swisher walked and struck out. Minor base hit. 2-out single.
Didn't miss that one. You remember previous at bat, he was able to strike Nick Swisher out with a fastball in that same area. This one, Swisher was waiting for it. Trying to go up and in, closer to the belt. It's down.
Michael Brantley. Brantley gotten off to a good start this year. He was consistent last year with this club. Put together At one point, a 22-game hitting streak. He had 288 in the first half and 288 in the second half. One and one. It's 2 balls and a strike. Indians have had some action in their bullpen. They have 5 innings and 105 pitches out of Trevor Bauer, and they've had Matt Albers up in the bullpen. And, I think he's all set. And 3 balls and a strike. Santana, who's now catching, is on deck. The ground ball for Zobrist. Takes care of Cleveland. Rays coming into bat, bottom of the 6th, leading by 3. His first start of the year has been very good. 5 strikeouts for Cobb through 6 innings. The Rays got their first run on a bases loaded walk to Evan Longoria. Trevor Bauer struggling throughout the evening with command, and then Kelly Johnson got him for a 2-run home run in the 4th inning. So the Rays lead 3-0. Bauer is gone in favor of Matt Albers. Five innings, 3 runs on 2 hits, one of those a home run. A couple of strikeouts and 7 walks. And now Albers on for Bauer.
Yeah, and quite frankly, Trevor Bauer fortunate to just have given up the 3 runs. Rays have had a plethora of opportunities. They do have the lead, but fortunate with that line, and now you give way to Matt Albers, veteran. The Rays have seen an awful lot of him at different stops in the American League East with Boston, Baltimore. Heavy sinker.
Escobar takes the pitch down and away. Cano 0 for 2. Balls, no strikes. Duncan next, and then Molina. Big cut right there by Escobar.
That's what we've seen out of Yunel Escobar here in the early going. His swing is extremely big, and right here in a 2-0 count, he is going to let it rip and has a tendency, I think, at times to get a little bit too long and big with that swing. Ressus, what do you see?
Brother, you and I talked about it, BA, before the game. He's so quick. Okay, he's so quick, but the problem is, and that's a big thing for us Caribbean hitters a lot of times that are pretty big and strong, we tend to get body conscious instead of hand conscious. And you see how his hips will shift forward instead of saying quiet. Remember when I was talking about quiet is loud? If you say quiet, it almost just sink in down. And I know all the things that I'm saying, BA, you're thinking, when I was a pitcher, this is exactly what I was taught and I worked on. Sink down and then let your hands explode. And he doesn't know how quick his hands are.
Well, it is pretty amazing when you start to break down the mechanics of pitching and hitting at the time that you start to drift towards the plate as a pitcher, and as the time that you pick up the ball and start to go into your swing as a hitter, how similar it is. A pitcher gets started too quick, the body gets out in front, the hand can't catch up. Hitter gets started too quick, the hands lag, the swing gets long, and it's easily exploited.
Sends this one up the middle. Base hit for Escobar. He's going to try to stretch it into 2, and he is safe. C.B. Buckner calls him safe. Kipnis will argue the call. Cabrera gets in between Kipnis and Buckner. Some aggressive base running for Escobar on the single up the middle, and he runs it into a double. The Indians thought they had him, and Terry Francona is going to carry on the conversation.
Well, the throw was definitely there in time. C.B. Buckner is saying that the tag was never made. And it certainly looked like from up here, the ball was there in plenty of time, but I think Escobar got that left leg in there. I really do. This is an aggressive play, born on the run. Look at this, plenty of time. Does he touch him? Well, maybe got the toe. You see the movement of the glove right here. Let's see. Oh no, he tagged the bag. I don't know if the glove ever got to Escobar's foot. He tagged the corner of the bag. And maybe nudged that foot right there. He did. It was subtle, and C.B. Buckner missed it.
Well, Escobar runs himself into scoring position, and here's Duncan following with one into right center field. Escobar is going to score, and Duncan will make a big turn and hang on at first. And the Rays turn that into their 4th run of the night. Nice job by Duncan to take that one into right center field.
Well, you know that Matt Albers has that good sink. He wants you to pound the ball into the zone, into the ground, and Shelley Duncan here gets this pitch elevated, and he just goes right with it.
See how much quieter he was at the plate there? I mean, his body, not a whole lot of movement. Shelley decided to just stick with his hands and drive it.
Now Molina puts down a bunt. So Molina advances the run. A little hesitation by Swisher, but Albers got over there to take the toss. Molina sacrifices Duncan into scoring position.
Yeah, nice job there by Jose Molina. Putting that ball down, put it in a nice spot, get your runner into scoring position. Nice job of handling the bat. You see, he didn't push at that ball. Let the ball come to the bat. Just drop it in there. Nicely done.
Now the Rays have 4 runs and bunting a potential 5th run into scoring position right there in the 6th for Kelly Johnson. Which breaking down and in. 1 ball and no strikes. Johnson the Rays a couple runs with one swing of the bat in the 4th inning. Phillies home run one more time. Two balls and a strike. He's got a run in the first on a bases loaded walk to Longoria. 2 on the home run by Johnson in the 4th, and another run here in the 6th inning. Johnson draws the walk. We'll check in with Todd Callis. Todd?
Dwayne, a couple of injury updates for the Rays. We'll begin with the pitching staff. And Jeff Neiman had a little MRI here. He's going to go to Texas with the team and get a second opinion. That should occur on Monday with a second MRI. So we'll try and get an update for you when the Rays are in Texas against the Rangers. And Luke Scott, he'll also be traveling with the Rays. He feels like his calf is really recovering in a hurry. The Rays training staff telling him just be patient. Don't rush it too much. But he will travel with the team as he tries to come back from that calf injury, guys.
All right. Thank you, Todd, for the update. Desmond Jennings will be the hitter. Nothing game. The pitch is a strike, and we mentioned that the 4-run lead because last year the Rays, if they scored 4 runs or more, they had the best winning percentage in the American League. There were 74-13 in games when they scored at least 4 runs. So 4 is a key figure for them. A lot of clubs like to get to that 5 mark, but with the pitching being what it's been here, the Rays often make that work with 4. Duncan at second and Johnson at first. Close there to Jennings, spins him out of there. It's 2-1.
This ball running in on Desmond. I don't know how that missed him. That ball wrapped right around him.
Takes it the other way to right. Rayburn will go to the wall, and he cannot hold it. Duncan's going to stop at third. Duncan was waiting to see if the ball was going to be caught or not. So he has to stop at third, and the bases are loaded. Desmond got some very good carry on that one. Rayburn went back, had it, but as he made contact, it jarred loose. That's going to be a hit. Look at that.
Rayburn actually got to the wall a little bit early. He hits the wall, not able to complete the reach. That ball actually off the wall and then the back of the glove. Tough for those base runners to see that. See a ball driven like that. And just unfortunate the bases are loaded. Nobody was able to score. A nice job by Desmond Jennings again, letting that ball get to the strike zone before he's able to show some surprisingly good pop the other way. Straightaway right field.
Matt Joyce. He takes ball 1. Well, Jennings is on base for the 3rd time tonight with 2 walks and now a base hit off the right field wall. That's a strike. Desmond looked good this spring. Off to a good start here.
You combine the ability to work at bats, take deep counts, and then hit the ball the other way like that.
All great signs. The Rays have gotten to Albers for 1 run and threatened to get more. Shot foul up the right side. 1-2. Ball stays in. And it's 2-2 Albert. Sometimes we'll get that one to come back. Not that time. There's Zobrist waiting on deck.
Come cheer on David Price at his next start. That will be tomorrow afternoon. Be a part of the craziest new fan section in Tampa Bay, District K9. Your specially priced ticket includes a lower level seat, a District K9 t-shirt, and a K card. To purchase tickets, visit RaysBaseball.com/District K9.
Up the left side, that's going to be a foul ball. Joyce, the 6th man, facing Albers here in the 6th inning. Albers over 20 pitches. More action down the left field line in the Cleveland bullpen. Cody Allen throwing. And another foul ball. A battle here with Joyce and Albers going at it.
Matt Joyce continues to battle foul off pitches. Used to hate those at bats where you would start to build a pitch count up against a hitter because he's seen your release point and the spin of your pitch 6, 7, 8, get up to those 10, 11 pitches. I wonder if that advantage doesn't start to swing into the hitter's favor.
He's got 3 runs off Bauer in 5 innings. They've added a run against Albers. And strike 3. Finally got him with a 2-2 breaking ball.
Now the answer is no when you're able to come up with a pitch like this for Matt Albers. Good breaking ball down in the zone that he takes below the zone. Right. Tough pitch. If you're Matt Joyce and you've had to battle, foul off a lot of pitches, you get yourself into swing mode and then you get face to face with a nasty curveball like that. That's tough.
And if the Rays are going to cash in to get more in this inning, it's up to Ben Zobrist, who has walked twice. Off to a hot start. A good look at the fastball away. Escobar has scored. Duncan's at 3rd. Johnson at 2nd. Jennings 1st. And then breaking pitches. Well, the last few pitches. That's been the big one for him.
And that right there, that's a pitch that Ben Zobrist can do nothing with. Borderline ball, low in the zone, backdoor breaking ball.
Ground ball back to first, handled by Swisher, who steps on the bag to retire the side. Rays settled for one. They lead 4-0. Rays baseball on Sun Sports is brought to you by your Gulf Coast Honda dealers. Visit your Honda dealer for great lease and finance deals on fuel-efficient Hondas. By Tampa Bay Radiation Oncology. When cancer strikes, strike back with CyberKnife. Available at Tampa Bay Radiation Oncology. And by Checkers. Feast on. Well, Matt Albers got the final out there on the ground ball by Zobrist, but still had something to say to C.B. Buckner.
Well, and when you see a player like that going after the umpire, it's amazing they didn't run him. He was none too happy, and let it be known demonstratively.
And again, here's the look at the play that led to all of that.
So that glove gets right to the toe of Escobar.
Well, the Rays settled for just that one run. Escobar scored. As we go to the 7th inning, Sam Fold takes over in left. 83 pitches for Cobb as he starts the 7th, facing Carlos Santana. 1 ball, no strikes. By the way, the Rays tonight, with the bases loaded, have gone 0 for 5 with a walk, so they've had opportunities really to blow this thing wide open. Trevor Bauer walked 7 in the 5 innings he pitched. Those 7 walks came in the first 3 innings. Santana, who singled in the 2nd inning, 1 for 2, and Cobb has a 2-1 count on him here to open the 7th. Three and 1. That's another case right there where he just slowed everything down with that delivery.
It's almost like in your mind you're saying, okay, make sure I slow down, stay on top, and drive this ball downhill. You know, we've seen a number of his split changes tonight stay up in the zone, not have that really good finish on it like we most of the time see. And he could just be in his mind saying, let me hang over the rubber just a hair longer to try to get that downhill movement. Missed again there, a little bit elevated.
Yep, pitch up. So walk number 3 allowed by Alex Cobb.
Yeah, but even so, Alex Cobb has thrown a heck of a game, moving the ball around the zone. And even though those splits may not be in the exact location that he's wanted, he's had the good arm action to go with most of them. So he hasn't been hurt on.
Tony Chisenhall, the third baseman, rounds it back, strike 1. Rays are going to get some action in the bullpen. There's Jake McGee heading to the bullpen mound. It's up a bit. 1-1, so he's at 90 pitches now. Foul up the right side. 1-2.
Now get in on the action with exclusive on-field seating in the Papa John's bullpen box. Available dates are going fast. So act now to make your group reservation behind the Rays bullpen by calling 855-GROUP-TB, or you can go online at raysbaseball.com.
Two away. Fastball. A leadoff walk. It's the second time tonight that he's issued a leadoff pass. He walked Swisher back in the second inning. Santana in the 7th. Up foul. It's drifting toward the seats. Levin is over there, but no chance. Alex Cobb, the 25-year-old right-hander. Rays trying to extend some of their young starters now. We were talking the other day that group, Moore and Hellickson and Cobb, last year they averaged just under 6 innings per start as a group. So they'd like to get another out or two from each one of them. And if they did that, get a couple more outs and start, they would wind up with the required innings the Rays think they need to get out of their starters.
Huge, you know, with both Matt Moore and Jeremy Hellickson, if they average 2 extra outs per game, they would be right on the cusp of 200 innings each.
Yep.
Well, you would absolutely take that right now.
By the way, we're going to be talking with Jim Hickey on the telecast tomorrow. Ground ball that's deflected by Cobb to Escobar, and they get the double play. Escobar and Aloni to double up Chisenhall, and that's one way to take care of the leadoff walk and ease the situation. 1-6-3. So we'll be chatting with Jim Hickey tomorrow on something that we might get into with him. Yeah, ask him about that.
Yeah, he's got to be thrilled with what he has to work with, and just watching the continuing maturation process take hold with these young pitchers, and David Price obviously taking the leadership role of this staff, and then what he's got to work out with in the bullpen. But pitching coach job is not easy because you really have to be able to connect with each individual guy, be adaptable. Jim Hickey does a tremendous job in doing that. Not only that, but is so well prepared with his scouting reports.
Up the middle, backhanded by Zobrist, had him shaded that way, and Ben makes a nice play to retire Ryan Rayburn. 7th inning stretch time, 4-0 Rays.
At 4-0 against the Cleveland Indians. Time now for our Twitter poll question of the night. It involves the Indians. Where do you think they're going to finish in the American League Central? Tweet your votes to @SunSportsRays. Hashtag TB1 if you think they're going to win the division. TB2 for second. TB3 for third. TB4 for fourth. Hashtag TB5 if you think they're going to finish in the cellar in the AL Central. We'll have the results as part of our Rays Live postgame show. Gentlemen.
Changes for the Cleveland Indians. Cody Allen pitched an inning and made over 30 pitches Thursday against the Blue Jays as their third pitcher of the night. And they have a new third baseman. Mike Aviles takes over at third. He'll go into the 9th spot in the order. And the pitcher Allen is in the 7th spot. Evan Longoria, the first man to face Allen. Ball, no strikes. Longoria, Loney, and then Escobar due up. Rays got a run off Albers and 3 off Bauer. They lead 4-0. Look out. Longoria hit by that pitch.
Yeah, is right. That ball
warnings
almost
issued.
Yeah, and sure, that ball was almost behind Evan.
Dale Scott has issued warnings.
No, this series will get really interesting now. You're throwing at Evan Longoria. I mean, right here, that no question what's going on there.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah, we will.
James Loney about to step in. Want to know? Loney walked in the third. Longoria off the bag at first. This one is down. Rustis, what's your take on that?
Yeah, I'm a little dumbfounded because I want to believe that the kid Allen just doesn't know where it's going right now, and that was a two-seamer that got away. But it was a little too blatantly behind him.
Yeah.
But I don't get it. I mean, Evan hasn't done anything really dramatic in the game. The game's still relatively close. I don't see an open hit like that.
And a base hit out of the reach of Cabrera. Longoria down to second.
No, that's exactly what I'm thinking. I'm trying to rack my brain at how Evan Longoria could have possibly wronged the Cleveland Indians to get that pitch. And, you know, maybe it did just get away from him, but he missed home plate by 3 feet.
And from here, I'll tell you right now, I mean, we saw it on TV too, but Evan gave him a very stern look. He was not a happy camper because he knew it was behind him. And one of the things as a hitter you don't want is anywhere behind you, and especially up behind you, because your first reaction is actually to go back. So when you get thrown behind you, you're really, really not in a good mood.
There's Escobar lifting a fly ball the other way to right. Rayburn makes the catch, tagging at second. Longoria on his way to third to throw up the line a bit. And the Rays will have men on the corners.
Tell you what, Ryan Rayburn's showing a very strong arm out there, a little bit offline right with that throw, but that ball jumps out of his arm. We saw him nail Matt Joyce at the plate earlier in the game. And if this throws on line, he would have had a play at third base.
Yeah, he was not happy with himself that it wasn't on line.
No, because he knew it. That ball comes sizzling out just wide.
Shelley Duncan, single homer run in the 6th inning. Up the right side, and that's going to be foul. Beyond the Rays bullpen. Rays with 4 runs on 6 hits. They've drawn 8 walks, and they've had a man hit now. One ball, 1 strike. Some bite on that bender. Allen was in 27 games with the Indians last year, spending most of the rest of his time at Columbus, the AAA club. There's Duncan reaching and popping it foul. And Swisher takes care of that.
Hey, Rays fans, this season we're bringing back our Rays Fan Express bus. It's a VIP bus for 50 people. It picks you up and takes you right to Tropicana Field for a game. Find out how you and your friends can reserve this bus by contacting Rays Group Sales or visiting RaysBaseball.com. See how much fun you have.
Jose Molina's the scheduled hitter. Mickey Callaway, the pitching coach, heads to the mound. First and third with 2 outs. Quick little meeting and break it up. Wrap-up game of the series in the homestand is tomorrow afternoon. The Rays have been on the road like 20 of their next 26 away from Tropicana Field. David Price against Justin Masterson tomorrow. A strike to Molina. Wide there. 1-1.
Maybe he did get away from him.
That's exactly what I was thinking, guys. Watching it from right here, I'm going, I don't know if this fireballer knows where it's exactly going.
Yeah, if you look at the pitch that he was able to clip Evan with, and then that pitch there, his swath is about 7 feet.
Yep.
I think Evan now is feeling like, okay, maybe I wronged you, kid. I shouldn't have stared you down. I get it. You have no clue where it's going.
Well, yeah, pitch 2 was airbrushed in there.
It's back.
CGI.
Yeah, it wasn't there. Yeah.
There you go. Look at that.
No. This right here was more over in this general direction.
Okay.
There you go.
That makes more like dropped a little Steven Spielberg baseball on him.
Molina takes it the other way. Jose Molina singled in front of the home run by Kelly Johnson in the 4th. Seven and third. James Loney is aboard across the diamond at first. Molina takes another one the other way, foul back.
Continues to battle, facing some electric stuff. Jose Molina, nice job of handling the bat his last time up, laying down a nice bunt.
And now the count's going to go full. Allen thought he might have had that pitch around the knees. Let's take a look.
Looked like a good pitch here. Fastball stays true.
Little in.
What you do as a hitter there, guys, that you act like you knew all along that it was a ball. So that's what you just kind of like, oh, yeah.
You just sell it.
No problem.
Yeah.
I know.
See?
That was low.
You see how it comes back around to selling it?
3-2, fouled again. So it's a good at bat for Molina.
BA, when you used to get those questionable strikes that you thought, man, I missed with that one, but he gave it to me. Wouldn't you catch the ball back, go back to the mound, and act like nothing happened? Like, of course that was a strike. Let's get to the next pitch.
Well, you know what you do is you let that pitch go, and you've seen it so many times called a strike that I would just have a tendency to just stay there for a second to get a good view, and then at that point you got to let it go because you've got to move on to that next pitch.
Right.
So you don't do something like that.
Like that. Exactly.
Throw the breaking ball at about 5'10".
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
So Molina fouled a number of pitches away and finally works the base on balls. The bases are loaded again for the Rays. Sam Fole hitting out of the nice spot. Kelly Johnson started in there, and Sam moved into left in the top of this inning. Well, the Rays 0 for 5 with a walk. The bases loaded tonight. See if Sam can break that. A little chop to first. Swisher steps on the bag, and the Rays will leave him loaded for the third time tonight. 4-0 Tampa Bay.
Shot by Raymond.
Welcome back to Tropicana Field, where the Rays have a 4-0 lead. Saturday night. Of course it is.
Wow.
Alex Cobb, who has made 97 pitches, out here to open the 8th. Alex in his first start of the year. Rays got a run in the first, 2 runs in the 4th, and a run in the 6th inning.
How about this? Raymond just gearing up on Aquafina. I mean, that's a shot. Feet off the ground.
I mean, out cold.
Yeah. Look at that. And Pepsi gets chopped.
More mayhem. First pitch. Avila's hitting out of the 9th position in the order. Looks at a strike. Breaking ball, 1-1. Goes that one by him. A ball and 2 strikes. Well, Alex Cobb here has 7 innings under his belt, and working here in the 8th. The right side down toward the bullpen. So the Rays, looking at the pitch count, he's just now over 100. So they're trying to get him as deep as they can into this game. Orestes?
Yeah, I mean, I'm slightly surprised. He's had a very nice outing. BA, I mean, came in at 97. Where are you going with this? 110 maybe?
Listen, I Restless, you've probably heard it. I've long ago stopped trying to figure out Joe Madden. Long ago. I mean, you
just when you think you had him,
right?
Then he drops Joe Magic on you and he changes up on you.
Yeah, there's something that's come out of Uncle Charlie here that says this is a good matchup.
Okay. True. You do got righty. You've got a point there.
And a strike call. That takes care of Aviles.
All right.
1 away, and he has action in the bullpen, and now with the left-handed bat of Michael Bourne up, now they're going to make the change. Aviles caught looking there, literally caught looking. And Joe Madden comes out. Boy, nice job by Alex Cobb here in his first start of the year, and he'll get a good hand from this good crowd at Tropicana Field tonight. It's a Metro PCS call to the bullpen. Seven and a third, made 103 pitches and leaves with this 4-0 lead.
Well, right from the beginning of the game, Alex Cobb was sharp with his pitches, using both sides of the plate with the fastball. A couple strikeouts there. Did a nice job of really painting with the fastball, the changeup. We saw some very good curveballs, good bite on them. A lot of them, he's dropping in there to get ahead of hitters 0-1. Tremendous outing.
Now Joel Peralta faces Michael Bourne. So a good night for the young right-hander.
He had some interesting innings to sit through also. Long innings, big pitch counts by Indians pitchers. Just continue to maintain his focus.
Pops it toward the left field line. Fold into foul territory is there, and he hauls it in front of the bullpen bench. Fold, who took over in the 7th inning in left field, covered a little ground out there to retire Michael Bourne.
Well, good awareness. Sam Fold running hard towards that line. Not a ton of room over there. You got the Indians bullpen.
Here's the shortstop as Drupal Cabrera. Peralta finished off last night's game with a 1-2-3 ninth inning when he got Cabrera on strikes to start that final inning. Got Kipnis looking, and then got Swisher on a ground ball, and the Rays finished that one off with 4-0 victory. They lead 4-0 now in the 8th, and another popper down the left side. Longoria calling for this one and makes the catch with Fold sliding right at Evans' feet. Longoria holds that one in. A 1-2-3 8th. Bottom of the frame coming, 4-0 Tampa Bay. Canterfield, and coming up on Rays Live, the post game presented by Checkers. BA will break down Alex Cobb's performance, the Joe Madden press conference, and Kelly Nash with interviews from the clubhouse. Jennings pops one foul, and that ball's going to be out of play for a strike. Cesar Ramos loosening in the bullpen. And Allen bounces this one in to give us further evidence that maybe he really wasn't throwing at Evan Longoria.
He's starting to build a case slowly but surely.
He's missed wide on both sides of the plate, and that time wide in front of the plate.
Well, there can't be anything more disconcerting, Arestas, than a guy who is all over the place like this occasionally, and then he'll just fire one right down Broadway.
I'll tell you a guy after this pitch that did that to me. Oh, wow. You checked that one?
Yeah, Jennings called out here by Dale Scott.
Dale's had an auspicious game today. Veteran Dale Scott, crew chief. But
let's take a look right here.
Wow.
Really wants to see the second half of that basketball game.
No, but you mentioned guys that are all over the place. And then come back and just paint you. He was 6'10", lefty, came up with the Expos.
Yeah.
By the name. I tell you what, when Randy Johnson, I was his first strikeout victim in his major league career. Number one. I always tell a unit, listen, you go nowhere without me. But he threw seemingly 110, and you get up there, and when he was skinny, and he really didn't have a clue. And he'd throw it behind you, and then the other side of the plate, and then he'd paint you with a slurve and a fastball, and you were done. And so, yeah, I definitely have still some not memories, nightmares from that guy.
Well, I got a chance to pitch alongside him for a couple of seasons out in Arizona and see when he had honed his craft to where his command was a whole lot better. And he just absolutely dominant. One of the best left-handed starting pitchers the game's ever seen.
Yeah, this was '88 when he got called up to Montreal. I was with the Pirates, and it was his first start. And my goodness, I just swung at 3 pitches, and I looked at the umpire and I said, you know, they sounded like strikes, because I sure didn't see them. But no, he didn't have that control. In fact, he ended up putting a lot more weight on, and then I think then he got really, from the Expos to Seattle, that was the big move. When he got to Seattle, he really learned how to pitch. And it was all she wrote after that. Because I faced him after that, and I was like, you're even worse now because you know what you're doing.
Matt Joyce with a count of 3-2. And this one skips under the glove of Kipnis, through into right. Kipnis got out there with the lip of the infield and was looking for a little hop that never really materialized.
Well, you get the feeling that Jason Kipnis would like to hit the restart button on this season, whether it be offensively or defensively. Had that tag situation with Escobar. It looked like he may have gotten the tip of his toe, but call went against him, and then this ball able to get by him out into right field. And this is a play that he's going to make most times. Pull up too soon.
1-0 to Ben Zobrist. Ben has been on twice tonight, has walked twice, otherwise 0 for 2. The Rays last night combined for a 2-hit shutout, retired the final 17 hitters in order. Lead 4-0 in this one. Ben lets the fly ball to Rayburn and right. 2 gone.
Well, all Sundays throughout the season are Family Fun Days presented by the Tampa Bay Times. Tomorrow, kids 14 and under will receive an Evan Longoria wall cling presented by Matchup Promotions while supplies last. You know, Todd was explaining that wall cling yesterday, I believe, during the ball game, but he was out in the party deck with the Trinnies and was completely distracted.
I can see how that could happen.
Yeah, so I'm not really sure how it works.
Longoria takes it into right center this time. Joyce heads to third. Throw's going to come through and hits Joyce in the back and rolls away, but it's backed up by Allen. And the Rays will have men on the corners on a base hit by Evan Longoria.
Evan right off the end of the bat, and he's able to fight this pitch. Actually breaks his bat left with the handle. Drops it out there. Another strong throw by Rayburn. We've seen a number of those tonight. This one a little bit more accurate, but it catches Matt Joyce right in the back.
Well, he was on target this time.
Of the arm.
Yeah. James Loney. He's trying to add to their lead. Loney slices it beyond the bullpen and just out of play. Michael Brantley.
Nice move.
Yep. Made a new fan. Did you see her face?
That was
great. That was really cool. She may throw it back at any moment. 0-1 the count now to Loney. Toward the gap. Left center field. Ward will chase it to the wall. Joyce has scored. Longoria will score. It's going to be a double for Loney, and the Rays tack on 2 more. 6-0 Tampa Bay. Loney plugged the gap in left center field out of the reach of Michael Bourne.
That ball basically middle of the plate down, and we talk about Loney and that inside out swing. It was a nice job of getting the barrel of that baseball, slicing it out into the gap, clearing the bases.
So the Rays now with 6 runs, 9 hits. Longoria scores. Following Joyce. For Loney, his 3rd and 4th runs batted in. Ricky Callaway takes a little time on the hill, and Dale Scott goes out to move it along. Joe Smith, the bullpen now for Cleveland. Well, Escobar doubled in the 6th inning and scored the 4th run of the night for the Rays. There's ball 1. So the Rays have 3 off Bauer, 1 run off Albers, and 2 off Allen. Foul right back. Escobar liked that pitch.
Not many that he doesn't.
Yeah, well, that's true, but this one is
really
one I think he really liked that one. Would like to see it again. 1-2. With 6 runs, they had opportunities for a lot more. They've gone 0 for 6 with the bases loaded, drawing 1 walk in that situation. And they still have 9 hits and 6 runs. 9 bases on balls issued by Cleveland pitching, 7 by the starter Trevor Bauer. And a strike on the outside corner. Escobar called out on strikes. The Rays will settle for a couple runs. They now lead 6-0.
Authority of the Tampa Bay Rays and may not be reproduced or retransmitted in any form, and the accounts and descriptions of this game may not be disseminated without express written consent of the Tampa Bay Rays. Let's take one last shot down to Arestas down there from your perch. What did you see down there, Arestas?
First of all, BA, I'm telling you right now, it's so nice to be back on field level and see the game speed all the time. You and I are, we're always up in the booth or DK and I are on left field. It's phenomenal to be back over here and see again the beauty and the grace that is Major League Baseball played at that speed level. And one thing I noticed, again, Cobb is a bulldog, and I love it. And I think that complements this rotation at the 5th hole, because then you flip over and you got David Price as the #1. So a lot of great pitches by Cobb. Obviously, we got the pen. And then late in the game, that quiet is loud hitting that I think we're going to see more and more. Longoria, Loney. I think we had some pretty good at-bats later on.
Cesar Ramos, the new pitcher for the Rays, to open the 9th inning, facing Jason Kipnis. 1-1. I think the point he made about the speed of the game is really the key from his perch down there tonight.
It doesn't always translate very well on television. You get down. I remember sitting in a rain delay with Mike Hargrove as my manager when I was playing with the Indians, and he said, the funny thing about this game, he said, the further you get away from the field, the easier it looks and the slower it looks.
That's right.
And it is so true. And even from the dugout, and where Arestas is, you can see the speed, you can appreciate the speed, but it gets even faster when you're out there between the lines.
Yep. 2-2 now to Kipnis.
You see that pitch right there, and you're a fan. You're like, well, just throw it there again.
Yeah.
Well, not only not that easee, but it's a lot easier to read from this perspective. That's why you always do video work from these TV cameras. It gives you a great perspective. Where when you're releasing that ball 55 feet away, it's always not as clear. And by the way, that was right there, strike 3.
Yeah. How about this?
Yeah.
Look,
where do you want it?
base hit into left. Bold will make the pickup, and Kipnis has his first hit. It's his first hit of the series. He was 0 for 4 last night, and now 1 for 4 in this game. And Nick Swisher, no bad right-handed here against Ramos. 2/3 of an inning for Peralta after Alex Cobb pitched 7 1/3, and Cobb was very impressive tonight. And he pitched into the 8th inning.
Yeah, impressive all around, and you got to love that length. And he will give it to you, just like Orestes said. He is a battler.
A ball, no strikes on Swisher. Lifted into center. Desmond. 1 out. Michael Brantley. Brantley, a couple of ground ball outs tonight in the 0 for 3. And the first pitch to Brantley is a strike. The Rays staff has 18 consecutive shutout innings going, dating back into the final inning of the Baltimore series. Shutting out Cleveland last night on 2 hits, 4-0. They lead 6-0 tonight. And again, we'll chat with Jim Hickey, the Rays pitching coach, tomorrow in the wrap-up game of this series tomorrow afternoon. Will be headed into Texas, Boston, and Baltimore on this next road trip. The Angels beat Texas earlier 8-4. That's a strike. Brings the count to 2-2. Number 2.
Well, nothing fancy about that pitch right there from Ramos. Just challenges him with a good fastball down and over the plate. Powers it right by him.
Ramos really came into his own last year.
Yeah, he really did. And, you know, once again, with the depth that this pitching staff has from the starters and the relievers, wasn't always up here in the big leagues where he more than likely belonged. He's getting his chance from opening day this year.
Santana sent a fastball too low. You know, he really gives the Rays some options with what he can do for this staff. He can start, he can pitch late, he can pitch in the middle, you can extend him. You can spot him in particular key situations in games.
Because of that starting ability, he can come in to face righties and lefties.
Yep.
You know, he's just not a lefty guy at the end of the pen or in the middle. You're right, he could do a lot of different things. Well, isn't that the story of the Rays? They love their versatility.
Yes, they do. But really, as much as their success has been built on good pitching, starting pitching, complemented by bullpen and good defense. But part of the genius of their success is almost unlimited versatility, because it creates, just by the nature of versatility, it creates depth. Two 1 now to Santana. Strike. Fitness takes second, uncontested. Well, the Rays are an out away from spinning another shutout tonight. Man at second with 2 gone, and Santana pulls away. It's 3-2. The last time the Rays had back-to-back shutouts at home would have been against the Angels, and that would have been in May of 2008. Shields and Kazmir started those games back-to-back. Popper, short center. Here comes Jennings, and the Rays are winners tonight. Another shutout, 6-0 the final here. So the Rays staff, a combination shutout last night, a combination shutout tonight. Cobb, Peralta, and Ramos doing the job tonight. And the Rays take the first 2 games of the series from the Cleveland Indians. Well, great job by Alex Cobb. 7 1/3, Peralta 2/3, and Ramos the final inning before a crowd of 32,217 here tonight. And the Rays go to 3-2 on this young season. As we promised earlier in the game, it's Miller time. Brought to you by Miller Lite, and for that we'll go back to the 4th inning. Kelly Johnson connected, belting a 2-run home run down the right field line off Trevor Bauer. That opened the lead, made it 3-0 at the time. The Rays go on to win this one 6-0. So the Rays and the Indians will wrap up this series in the homestand tomorrow afternoon before the Rays hit the road. Right now, Todd Callis standing by on the field with Desmond Jennings.
Dwayne, thank you. Desmond with that final catch for the final out to preserve this shutout for the Rays. 6-0 the final score. Des, kind of an interesting night. You get a couple walks, you hit a ball off the wall the opposite way. When you're facing a pitcher for the first time like Trevor Bauer, nobody's really seen him on this team. How do you approach it? Is it kind of difficult?
Yeah, I mean, he's got good stuff too. Like, it's kind of, his delivery is kind of, it's sneaky. His fastball sneaky. He throws his changeup and that slider. And he has a big curveball. And I don't know, man. It was tough. Just like picking it up, a little bit. It was tough, but we got through it.
Next time up, you draw another walk after your first inning walk, and then you steal a couple bags. Puts you in position where you end up on a chopper going on the ground. Tell us about that play. It didn't look like you had anywhere to go with Marson blocking the plate.
Yeah, I mean, your first thought is, I wanted to go around him to the outside, man, but I didn't have nowhere to go. So, I've been in that situation before last year, and I got hurt, so it's a tough play, man. You don't want to see nobody get hurt like that, but I don't know. I feel like I had nowhere to go.
I can see you there about 2/3 of the way down the line where you thought about the outside, but then it was covered. So there you go. Nothing left to do, right?
Nothing left to do.
Are you okay physically? Any bangs or bruises from that collision?
No.
Fine? Yeah. No, the ball I liked later in the game, the shot off the right field wall. You really just taking that ball the other way. Is that when you feel like you're letting the ball travel and really putting a good swing on it?
Yeah, that's when, that at bat I felt good. I kind of, felt like I was guessing with the pitcher. I felt like he wanted to go away because they've been trying to stay away the whole series. So, I got a good pitch over the plate.
How about the pitching in this series? 2 shutouts in a row. Can't do much better than that, huh?
Yeah, no, man. I mean, it's, the pitcher's going to be there Cobb did a real good job today, keeping them off balance. Busting them in with the two-seamer. It was good.
Final thing, Desmond, we'll let you go after this day game tomorrow. Center field just seems so comfortable for you. I know you did that last year when BJ at the beginning of the year was not playing. Do you feel even more comfortable this year? It looks like you're getting great jumps out there in center.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like that's my position. I feel like this position I play, coming up in the system. So, I mean, I'm comfortable there, and hopefully be there for a little while.
Nice job tonight. We're glad you're not injured at all after that play.
Thanks, TJ.
All right, guys, back up to you.
All right, Todd, thank you very much. Desmond Jennings, impressive again tonight, and a tough collision at the plate in this Rays victory, 6-0. Back in a moment.